Hey guys, welcome back to Jurassic Collectibles. So today we're super excited to be bringing you a review of this guy. And it's the Thrasher T-Rex from 1997's The Lost World. This is a fantastic dinosaur figure and is legendary among Jurassic Park toy collectors. The Thrasher T-Rex gets its name from the gimmick that comes with this dinosaur. It doesn't have an electronic feature, but if you waggle its tail from side to side, its head would move in the opposite direction, which meant that it would break out of the restraint gear that came with this toy. So this one comes complete with the packaging and the capture gear, and today we're going to get him out of his box and take a closer look. Okay, starting off by looking at the packaging, you can see we've got the Lost World logo here set against this nice green jungle motif. As we move down, we've got try me, move tail side to side to make head thrash, and a nice little picture of the T-Rex in his capture gear. Dino Strike thrashing action. Over here we've got the Thrasher T-Rex with the little Site B logo down in the corner. And we've also got chomping jaws. It's another gimmick that comes with this Thrasher T-Rex, and you can see him there chomping down on a brown velociraptor. And down here, of course, we have the classic Kenner logo. At the back of the window there, you can see it says, "Try me, move tail side to side to make head thrash." And the base of the window box is really nice. It's got this jungle pattern going on, so it's almost like a diorama. On the top and repeated on the bottom, we've got this lovely picture of the Thrasher T-Rex set against green, and then we've got the T-Rex chomping into the raptor again, and also how to put on and dismantle the restraint gear. Repeated on both ends of the box is this beautiful picture of the Thrasher T-Rex. Back here we got the Lost World logo with the Thrasher T-Rex there and the Site B logo, and you can see we got this beautiful detailed diorama with Nick Van Owen, the T-Rex in capture gear, and there's Dieter Stark and Ian Malcolm stood next to each other, even though in the film they weren't really cooperating. And then you can see here it says Dino Strike thrashing action, and then at the bottom we get an overview of all the other products in this line. Some really exciting toys, and I remember looking at this really fondly and noticing that the Bold T-Rex wasn't even in existence in the UK. Okay, so all that remains is to get this big guy out of the packaging. Here is the beautiful Thrasher T-Rex out of his packaging. Doesn't he look fantastic? And he comes with this restraint gear which goes round his waist and also muzzles his jaw, and that will come into play in just a minute when we show you the gimmick. Now, unlike the Series 1 Jurassic Park line, these do not come with collector's cards, but they make up for it in the articulation and the gimmicks. So this main part of the body, the whole torso and head, is formed of a soft rubber, which is actually softer than the original Red Rex. And then we've got these hard plastic parts for the arms and for the legs. Now on the original Red Rex, the plastic started at around the knee. On this one, it starts all the way up at the hips, and what that gives us is articulation at the hips, so that is a plus. We also have articulation at the arms, and the jaw can be open wide, and that comes into play with the gimmick, which we'll show you in just a second. Okay, so let's take a closer look at this guy. Starting off with this incredible head sculpt. Just a wonderful, accurate representation of the T-Rex that we see in The Lost World. If anything, the jaw might be a little bit long, but actually when you close the jaw, you'll see that we get the overlapping teeth that were a trademark look of the T-Rex in the first Jurassic Park. And I'm not sure if you could achieve this with the Red Rex from the original Series 1 line. There's a wonderful mixture of greens going on here, and this lovely translucency of the rubber just makes the skin look so genuine. You don't see this very often on toys nowadays, and it's such a shame. Obviously it was an expensive process that they didn't mind using for such a popular franchise. Really lovely sculpt work, all these lovely fine folds under the chin. Again, you don't see this very much in toys nowadays. This is just really fantastic sculpt work, and I believe this one has again been sourced from a Stan Winston original. The eye is a nice bright yellow, but it's been carefully painted with a little white dot encircled with black. The jaw does open up, and we'll show you the gimmick in just a bit, but you can see we've got a carefully sculpted tongue and cavity in there. This is in a hard plastic, and the teeth have been individually painted. I'll just show you the lower jaw. Really nice. And the tongue has been sculpted, which comes into play with the gimmick. Fantastic detail. And also the flesh in the corner of the mouth, just wonderful sculpt lines going all over that. As we move down the neck, there's some lovely sculpted folds and creases going all the way down. Nice gathering of the skin here on the lower neck. This white paint tended to fleck off in a lot of these dinosaurs. It's quite nice to see one that's quite rich in paint around this area. As we move down to the arm, you can see we've got really nicely sculpted creases going all the way along. Nice indication of musculature in the upper limb there and in the lower limb. Perfectly sculpted forelimb claws, and they've been painted individually. And as we move underneath, we've got that trademark crocodilian stomach. Really, really nice. And this tells me that this has been sourced from a Stan Winston original, because this is very true to what we got on the original Red Rex. Here you can see the faint indication of musculature, and they've just enhanced that a little bit by doing just some light airbrushing. Ever so subtle, but it just makes it look so much more realistic. Some nice dark green on the top, and then we've got more of these tiger stripes. Lovely sculpt work all the way along the back here. I love this ridge running along the back, it's like armour plating. And then come down to the leg, you can see the wonderful JP logo there. And to distinguish it from the Series 1 line from Jurassic Park, they put a Site B logo there. And this is number 29. Nice airbrushing down here. It's a little bit more of a contrast to here, but that's because these are different materials. So I imagine they had to do quite a bit of work to try and match these colours as much as possible, so they've done a good job. As we move down, there's lovely creases going all the way down here. Nice indication of the musculature here. It's a little bit square feeling, but it doesn't detract too much from this toy. On the other side again, you can see musculature here bulging. Really nice creases and scales going down here. And we come to these very bird-like feet, and they just look fantastic. Unlike the Bold T-Rex, these don't feel too large. These feel very bird-like and agile. Nice dew claw sculpted in there. Unfortunately, the dew claw is not painted. A little bit of a downside, but they've made up for it by painting these individual bird-like scales running along each toe. The underside of the foot has been sculpted, not as detailed as what we saw on the Bold T-Rex, where we actually had sculpted creases, but still nice to see some definition of the breaking up of the phalanges there. As we move up to the tail, really nice creases gathering around the leg, lovely striping, and the contrast of colours here, all the greens and browns and whites just really coming together here. Beautiful. And a wonderfully sculpted tail. It does have the bent tail syndrome. The box was again too small for this dinosaur, but it looks like this one's been worked out a little bit over time. And then as we move to the other side, more of that beautiful tail. Lovely sculpt work. More indication of the musculature on the legs here. You can really see the individual muscles. Really nicely sculpted foot again. And as we move across the rib cage again, you can see the faint lines there airbrushed in. This arm seems to have been more airbrushed. You can see it's got some patches of green going on, so this one's obviously had a bit more love on this side. And then as we move back up the neck to that beautiful head, you can see a bit of white has chipped off there, but it doesn't detract too much from the overall appearance of this majestic toy. So although this guy didn't come with any electronic features, he does have a jaw snap gimmick. So if I open the jaw super wide, you should hear it snap, and the tongue jumps up just a little bit, and now the jaw is slightly wider. You can just leave it like this for display, but if you've got a toy raptor or any other kind of prey, you just pop it in here, and as it presses down on the tongue, there we go, close down on its prey. I really like it with that closed mouth pose. It just looks so much like the original T-Rex. If you own one of these vintage Thrasher T-Rexes, I wouldn't recommend you do the open mouth gimmick too much, because if you see around the jaw here, this is where the rubber is weakest, and it can tend to split down here. Alright, time for this T-Rex to thrash out of his restraint gear, and this goes around the middle of the T-Rex. These pegs on the end attached to these holes on this end, and then you feed the muzzle over the jaw these two struts link back with the piece around his middle, and they just peg in via these little pegs on either end. With his restraint gear on, we shake the tail from side to side, and he should break and thrash out of his capture gear. And there we have one freed T-Rex. Although I love this gimmick and it brings back a lot of memories for me, I think I do prefer the electronic sounds on the Red Rex. It's just a personal choice. I really like the fact that you can create the feet stomping sound and the roar. Both of those things were quite trademark for me, and it's a shame that this one just didn't have an electronic sound. Just one would have been enough, I think. So there we have it, guys. That was today's look at the epic Lost World Jurassic Park Thrasher T-Rex. Stay tuned to Jurassic Collectibles to find out how you can win this guy in our giveaway competition coming very soon. This is a real classic figure in my book, one of the greats from Kenner's toy lines, and the only downside really is the fact that it didn't come with electronic sounds like the original Red Rex did, but it has many gimmicks, has a really nice sculpt and paint job to make up for it. Do you remember playing with this toy? Do you own it now? Let me know in the comments down below. If you're looking to pick this guy up, you can find him on eBay still, but he can be quite pricey because he's a vintage toy, so have a little look. Okay guys, in the meantime, rate, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.